Richardson takes it all! A goal from the heavens for Kieran Richardson!
Really, he could be in here, he's all alone, he's scored! Sensation at Wembley from Sunderland! McGeady! Phillips, good try! Brilliant! Brilliant!
Edwards goes for the spectacular!
Corner comes in, Burton! Yes! Oh, it's about Burton!
His cross is a cracker for Quinn! He's done it! He has done it!
Hello and welcome back to the What the Falk Sunderland Preview Podcast. After a near perfect start of the season, Sunderland contrived to do a bit of a Sunderland and play the best they have done so far, only to miss a host of chances and lose 1-0 to Burton. However, there is a chance to remedy that this weekend as we welcome our friends Wimbledon to the Stadium Light for our second home game of the season. And to preview the game is Lee from Don's podcast, The Wombles Had a Dream. Lee, how are you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, podcast debut for you. Normally we'll have Ivor on, but I'm politely informed you're far superior to Ivor.
I wouldn't say I'm bigger than Ivor, which most people are, to be fair. But Ivor's the most superior Wimbledon fan there probably possibly is. So yeah, I'm quite happy to come on. Thank you.
No problem at all. We'll start straight from the off, which is probably not a great thing for you, but nonetheless, I think victory was, shall we say, snatched last night by Gillingham in the very last kick of the game, 97th minute equaliser against, I think, 10 men as well. Yep. Probably not the best time to catch you, but you've had 24 hours to digest it. How are you feeling after the game?
I'm buzzing still because we're back at Plough Lane. So at the moment, it was my second game that some people have been before with test events and stuff, but my first game was against Bolton on Saturday. First game under lights at Plough Lane. The first time we've had a Tuesday night under lights in 30 years. So the results at the moment are just, we're playing some very good football as well. So it was gutting to concede last minute, especially the way it was conceded with a deflected goal. And that was their only shot on target in the second half. But we're playing very, very well at the moment. We're playing some very good attacking football with a very young and hungry side. So it was gutting to concede like we did, especially against a Steve Evans side with him just on the sideline, not stopping, and his stupid assistant manager, Rayner, they do my head in, the two of them. I don't know how they get away with it and how they've got away with it for so long. But yeah, it was gutting, but a point is at the moment pretty good for us at the moment.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to you about Plough Lane because obviously due to go back sort of before you actually did as fans technically, but we all know the feeling of being shut out from football for so long and getting back. You finally got in, spiritual home. I think everyone knows the history of Wimbledon. I don't need to go through that, things that you've gone through, things that have happened. How does it just feel not to be back just in football grounds, because we know that, but how does it get back to feel the ground that is your spiritual home, back in the ground, back with family, back with friends, back with where you should be, really?
Yeah, this week's episode is solely on Plough Lane, and going back there with a couple of guests on, just talking about their experiences. And I was saying I was a bit detached from football with COVID. I was watching it at home. I don't like watching it at home. I go home and away, and I love watching it live. I love having the banter with the away fans, or getting as close to as far as you can with them. That feeling of scoring last minute, like we did against Bolton on Saturday, where you're watching at home and you're going mental, and my missus is going like, calm down, and it's just not the same feeling. And I was kind of getting a bit detached from football, and I think any football after 18 months away is brilliant, and I think you're seeing that in every stadium that you watch. But for us, it's something special because we've built this ourselves. So it was quite funny on Tuesday against Gillingham where they were singing "You Let Your Club Die," and I was looking around at this brand new spanking stadium in the middle of Wimbledon that I've paid for pretty much and bought, and every single one of our fans have paid for it, and it's our stadium now. It's our ground in the middle of our community. Bit like yourselves with Sunderland, you're a community club. You're you're a one club city kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where in London, it's very, very hard to have that. But I think, not the one club kind of thing, but we've got that now community base, and it's just brilliant. It was very emotional. It's very emotional walking in. I walked in with my boy. He's 12, and he's been watching Wimbledon since he was 3. And for me, it's what it's about. It's about as you said, your family, your friends. Do you know what I mean? And it's a special come down. When you come down, you'll. Did you ever go to Kings Meadow? Have you been to Kings Meadow?
Kings Meadow I didn't get to, but I know a lot of people absolutely loved going down. I think that was the League Catamall double game, so extra special for Sunderland fans. Yeah,
and the Sunderland fans were absolutely brilliant. The ones I spoke to after the game, they were just there for a good day out. I don't think you thought you were going to be in the league that long as you have been. So you were just literally just loving life. And yeah, I loved the Sunderland fans. And but the view and getting food and drink at the stadium were awful. It was probably the worst away day for that. But coming down to Plough Lane, you're going to have a little section, a concourse. Like, we're not used to concourses at Wimbledon. Obviously Sunderland, they are. We're not used to that. It's like literally weird to us to have a concourse. We sat outside a bar, we sat in a car park drinking beer. But now we've got a concourse. It's just, it's madness for us. But come down, it's going to be, And as I said, the Sunderland fans were brilliant when they come down to our place. So.
Well, it's kind of, I don't want to assume, I don't want to say Wimbledon were born this new AFC Wimbledon, the Wimbledon for me, the Vinnie Joneses, the Laurie Sanchez, that, like, me growing up, like 96, 97, Wimbledon 7th, 8th top in the Premier League, or Premiership as it was known then. But like I say, we know the history of what happened, and I can't quite imagine what it would be like to not have a Sunderland, or have Sunderland actually stolen away from me, which it was, in my personal opinion, and many others. So to be kind of in the third tier from where you came from, I kind of half remember Kerry Dixon planning to play up front for you, kind of back in the day as a youngster, teenager. So you've gone from something that has been so small and so hard to build up, and you might shoot up a few leagues, but you've got back into the third tier. You've been there for a good while. You've got aspirations to go further with that. You've got a brand new stadium. There must be a moment where you kind of sit back and you go, bloody hell, we did this actually, and it must be taking you back quite a bit.
Yeah, it's mad. It is literally mad. Like it was so emotional on Saturday getting there. But Wimbledon have always punched above our weight. We've always done it when we were in the Premier League. And again, we were saying on our pod is that I've watched Wimbledon now playing every single professional men's football. So I watched Wimbledon in Premier League, Wimbledon FC, Premier League, First Division. We got relegated to Championship now, it's First Division. And then when we started again, and we were AFC Wimbledon, I say start again, we didn't. We were a continuation of Wimbledon FC in our eyes. I mean, most of our fans went to 88 FA Cup final and started in the combined counties. That's literally like step 7 it is. And I've watched them from all the way up to League One, and we're still punching well above our weight. We just lost our best striker last year, Joe Pigott, to Ipswich because they're paying him bigger money and better money. But we've got other players coming through now who are young, hungry, and we'll lose them again. We did it at Wimbledon. We used to lose players. We lost Cole Court to Newcastle up the road, 7 million. Do you know what I mean? We couldn't keep them, but we still found them, and we will always punch above our weight. And we are now. We're in League One, playing against the Sunderlands, the Ipswiches. We've got Oxford in a couple of weeks, and it's just huge to us to be in League One in our own ground. And we were saying we got the potential now to push on. Money will always be tight for us, but it's finding these gems in the inner city of London and saying, look, we can make you a professional footballer. You get released by Palace, you get released by Chelsea, come and play for Wimbledon, you'll be a professional footballer, and we won't stand in their way if they want to move on. And that's the good thing. I think in Sunderland, you've got a pool of players that you can pretty much sign. There's only a few teams that are, do you know what I mean, going to get them players, where we're fighting against Fulham. We're fighting against Brentford now, who are in the Premiership, and we've got to try and have that pathway to men's football for them. And we will always fight. But you sit down, and I don't think Wimbledon fans have never really sat down and thought about our journey, and we've just enjoyed it. And it's been amazing. It's brilliant. It's such a good journey.
I imagine that kind of sitting in Plough Lane for the Bolton game was maybe the first time you had that chance to kind of sum up in you probably can't sum it up, but that chance to look back on the journey because you had the visualization of it all, I would assume, with it being like able to sit and see it.
Because we had to have a few test events beforehand, which I wasn't overly keen. I didn't go to any of them because I wanted my first game to be at Plough Lane with a full packed house. And it was kind of, some people were saying like the gloss maybe were taken off it a little bit with regards to the test events. Obviously then watching at home and seeing an empty Plough Lane and thinking, I should be in there. But yeah, I had chills when me and my son, it's just where I had him like wrap my arms around him as we were walking through to our seats. And again, we've never had a concourse. We had terrace. So you walked and then you see the whole pitch. And it's, again, if you're a kid going to Sunderland, you walk up the steps. It's the old cliche, you see people videoing their kids going, it's their first game and their faces. But I was that kid. I was like a 40-year-old kid just walking in with my boy. And people for Sunderland think this is mad because you've got 40,000. What is it? 50, 40,000?
48,000.
Yeah, between. We got 9,000. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just blown away by it. I'm sitting there thinking this is just amazing, and it's out. And the big thing is it's ours. We built this, and it's ours. No one could, whatever them lot up the road say about us or any other team like Gillingham were trying to give it to us the other day. What anyone says about Wimbledon, it's ours. No one can take it away from us. We've built that. We've made that, and we've paid that history. That history is ours.
And I think even like when you go, because you were saying about the 90s footballers before, and you mentioned obviously Carl Court, Jason Newell, I'm thinking of Leonardson, but even then I was thinking of the ground was Selhurst Park for me growing up, and that was Palaces really. So even then it goes sort of before, doesn't it, I suppose? So it's got like double meaning to it. But as it is, I kind of wish it was away now that we spoke about it. But now that we're here, Stadium of Light, as I said in the preview, I sort of saw our side dominate our game during the week. Looking at statistics and Quest highlights, which is never the same as what you're getting the chance of. Do you know what I mean? But it looks like statistically, the Bolton game and the Gillingham game, you appeared the best of the two sides, specifically in the Gillingham game, maybe because they had 10 men, so on and so forth. But I think 5 points from the first three games for Wimbledon, who were often tipped to go down. I think a few people said this might be the season, yada, yada. I don't think that, but some people do. Is 5 points from the first three a good return despite that, what looks like domination? Or is the fan base a little bit frustrated that it just wasn't a little bit more?
No, I think 5 points is fair. I think Bolton, we got lucky, but we were 3-1 down. Last 25, 30 minutes, they literally couldn't live with us. And I thought we were going to nick it and maybe go on and get the 3 points. At Gillingham, you always expect a tough test from Gillingham, but they were pretty poor, to be fair. They were really bad yesterday. But I'm happy with the 5 points at the moment. But I know our manager is not, which is brilliant for us because you want that. He's not happy with only 5 points. Where previous years we've had managers would be buzzing over 5 points and saying how good it is. Last year I'd be going up to the Stadium Light and thinking we're going to get turned over here. Where now I'm thinking we can get 3 points on Saturday, which is mad to me because Sunderland should roll us over really. And as you said, everyone tips us to go down, but I think that's just tipping on, like the bookies don't know who we've signed. With COVID, it's totally different football season this year, I think, because a lot of people can't sign players that they want. There's not that much money in football as there was previously. A lot of people having to go to their youth teams. I tipped Burton as to be one of my dark horses this year because of what they've done last year. And I think they will nick, but they'll be hard to play against. Like you found on Tuesday, you dominated the game, but you couldn't get through. Where I think if you dominate a game against us, we have got pace to get at you, and we are very fit this year. And I think we can. I think we should be dark horses for playoffs this year, which is madness.
I found the appointment of obviously your manager quite an interesting one because I had Glenn Hodges on about a year ago, obviously discussing his career, kind of separate the interview pods that we sometimes do. But obviously Glenn Hodges is, in my opinion, came across as very much a Wimbledon man. I know he's at Sheffield United and I know he was that lot up the road and all that kind of stuff, and Watford, I think, if I remember correctly. But it felt like a point when it got to where you probably needed a change, and I thought, well, I wonder who the next Wimbledon man would be that comes in. And to little old me, I was like, Robinson? Who's that? He's not a Wimbledon man. And then you read into his history, and he's been there, like, it's his first job. He's obviously been at Fulham. I think youth team level, I think he was previously. He's worked with your academy. He's built his way up. He's kind of a lot of Wimbledon. He's built his way through the kind of each section of the club and got himself to the top. And he seems to be building a bit of a reputation here. But the person who'll know best is you, of course, Lee. What have you made of his first sort of 8 months at the helm?
He's fantastic. I know Robbo personally, to be fair. He's been at our club for 17 years. He come in as a academy director kind of thing when we didn't really have an academy. And he's been there 17 years, and he's the perfect fit for Wimbledon. He's just, I sent him a message before we played on Saturday, say, well done, and try and enjoy it. But you are the perfect fit for a manager to lead a Wimbledon team at Plough Lane in front of fans. And as I said, he's worked hard, as you said. Like, don't get me wrong, Glyn Hodges, as you said, he's a Wimbledon man. He was a legend. But the football under Glyn was quite boring. He was scared of losing. Mm-hmm. Where with Robbo, he's not. And we've got a player called Aya Bassel, who went on. This is a brilliant story that a lot of people don't know about, but Talk Sport, Jamie O'Hara. He was manager of Billericay Town, who playing just below the conference. He went on loan now, and he got sent back after one game by Jamie O'Hara. Said he's not big enough. He won't make it in the game of football. Robbo become manager, chucked him straight in. He's got 8 goals, I think, in about 11 games now, and he's one of our best players. And will move for over £1 million. He'll be the first ever Wimbledon player to be sold for £1 million plus. And that's just thinking, because he's small, people think that's it. They've ruled him out before he even touched the ball. Where Robbo will give him that chance. And it's what he signed. We've signed McCormick from Chelsea. But last year, a year before, we would never have done that. But he goes to these players. He sits down with them. He presents to them about the club. One of the first things he presents to the players is that they have to do a little bit of charity work around the community. So we've got a thing called DLAG, which gives food to underprivileged children or families, make sure they can have laptops and stuff like that in an age where it's needed. And they have to do that work. And if they had turned around and said, oh, no, I'm not interested in that, he wouldn't sign them. Doesn't matter if they're the best players in the world. You have to have that fit for Wimbledon. And as you said, he has that fit, and he's perfect for what we've got at the moment. And he thinks outside the box. So a strange one that's just happened at Wimbledon is he's just signed a substitute coach. So this is someone, it's brand new, someone that now will look at the stats of subs and when's the best time to bring on, say, our striker, Ollie Palmer. Ollie Palmer's not got the pace and stuff, but there might be a time in the game where it goes, right, 75th minute, bring him on, because that's when their defence is getting tired, or this is when they can see goals from corners. Sunderland might concede goals from corners the last 20 minutes of a game. So we'll bring another, it's just like we've got a restarts coach, someone that just solely does corners and throw-ins, because he believes that if you've got a throw-in, that's a Wimbledon throw-in, so that should be our ball. But a lot of people just throw it, don't they? You see them, they just throw down the line, and the other team just get it back straight away. But that is your ball. Why are you giving it back to the opposition straight away? And it's things like that you think, little margins that he's just trying to get. If we can get 1% over Sunderland, that could be the difference from a 1-0 win or 0-0 or 1-0 loss. Them fine margins are huge in football now, and stats are just massive. It's stuff like that he's bringing to Wimbledon.
I suppose his background as well, because I think he's in his 50s, but he's still a young manager in terms of experience. If you look at the games he's played, I think I'm not a big stats man, but I read that his win percentage, I'm sure, is near 35% or something since he's took over, which is not bad by anyone's account, especially for a team that's often, like I say, tipped to be in the lower reaches. But if he's coming through, obviously, the academy and stuff like that, and like you say, I think Wimbledon over the past few years, since they've been in the league with us, and obviously, naturally, I've paid more attention to them, do you sign young, hungry players? Some will work, some will not work. So I suppose him working there for that long and being at the club as long as he has, that almost marries up with your ethos anyway, doesn't it? So it makes him the perfect choice on paper.
Yeah, and where he's been working in academy, he knows the players that he's been working with. And when I spoke to him personally, he said, we've got a player called Elliot Bolton who's just gone on loan to a non-league team around near Wimbledon. And he said he's the best football brain that he's got at the club, but he's not very well built. So, but he might not make it now until 24. He might not right chat. But a lot of clubs will just release these players because they're not ready at that time. And you've seen probably at Sunderland and stuff. We have to win now and not the bigger picture. It has to be win now, win now, win now at all costs. Where he's thinking about the bigger picture, this kid could be ready at 24. He's only 20 now, so we've got a say with him for 4 years. It's not going to cost us a lot of money to keep him. So keep him now for the 4 years, and then when he's 24, we could have this brilliant player. And he's getting all our youth team players out on loan to men's football. So we've just had, I think it's 8 players now from our youth team, all gone out to play senior football at Conference South, just below that, because they need to get men's football. There's no point in them playing under 23s. And he sees that. And that's, I think, brilliant for us as a club, because these boys, once they become that potential, they could either make us a lot of money or they're going to be playing in our first team, which means we get a lot more points. And that's just the different thinking where, as I said, football nowadays is win now at all costs. Let's not worry about down the line.
Very much like that with Sunderland.
That's what do you know what I mean? And that's where a lot of teams, I think, they fall down, especially the big clubs coming down. They think that they don't do it right, in my opinion, with regards to their player transfers.
It's the first time it's felt like Sunderland might have got it right, but I'm hoping not tempting fate there. But it took us 4 years to get there. Jesus. I found some of the signings you made this season really interesting. One that really stuck out to me, probably because of personal where I live and stuff like that, but brought in obviously Dabo Madube, who scored, ex-former Rangers youth team player.
Yeah,
turned down his contract, I believe. I don't know that for a fact. And went to Watford. Obviously came in on loan. He scored his first goal. Aaron Presley's came in. George Marsh has come in. I think George Marsh has come in from Spurs.
Free agent as well. We signed him. There's no loan on
Correct.
that. That's a free agent, yeah.
And a few others along that, but they were the names that sort of stuck out for me. It's 3 games in. We can't judge any of them, but who's made the best first impression?
There's a few, to be fair. Dabo's coming on a sub more than he started. He started the other day against Gillingham, and he was brilliant against Bolton when he came in. He's just got pure pace.
Yeah.
I think he would have done well at Rangers and made it at Rangers if he had a first touch. His first touch lets him down. So I think that's why he didn't really play it as much for Rangers, but I could see why Watford have signed him, because his pace is unreal. Presley I tipped Presley to be our miss of the season. Because I saw him in pre-season and he was struggling with the men's game, and we were playing against big old centre-backs, non-league team, and they were bullying him a little bit, and I thought, wow, this is going to be a worry, but he's got a lot of pace. George Marsh is fantastic. How we've got him for nothing from Spurs is just beyond me. But I said on our podcast, I think COVID has a lot to do with transfers nowadays, because previously Sunderland might be looking at a George Marsh, but will he want to move away from his family to go to the north or move away from his family and then be in lockdown and stuff happen where you're not going to have much support around you, where now they're playing for Wimbledon. He's going to be local to there. His family are going to be all local. So they've got support around them. But the big one for me is Luke McCormick, who we got from Chelsea. Again, another free transfer. We thought we were going to get him on loan. He was superb for Bristol last year. Even though they went down, he was their best player by a country mile. And they said that they couldn't believe that he signed for Wimbledon. But again, I think he's a local boy. He lives locally. He's got his family and friends who are going to support him if he has a bad spell. And he is electric. He makes it tick. He can play with both feet, and he'll score the odd goal. And it's a very exciting time to be a Wimbledon fan at the moment, which is very rare. Usually we're tipped to go down straight away, but football's a funny game. We're very happy at the moment, but it can soon change if we lose. Say Saturday to yourself, we have got Ipswich and then Oxford as well. So we've got a tough run in now, and it depends the next 5 games how we do.
Yeah, no, it is a tough run, and I was looking through the games that you have and stuff like that. It's like, but coming in with 5 points, based on what people did beforehand, it's not a bad return, to be fair. Before I leave players you've signed completely, I have to mention it because I didn't even realise this had happened, but I wouldn't say he's got a history with us, but Sunderland fans will remember Darius Charles, who made a bit of an arse of himself whilst he played for Wickham, our house and all that kind of stuff. You may have seen it, but he talked a bit of rubbish. I've noticed he's not appeared yet, so I'm quite looking forward to giving him a little bit of jip on Saturday if he does, but how likely are we to see him on Saturday?
probably unlikely to see him on the pitch.
Yeah.
You'll see him on the bench, which is better for you because it means you can give him stick from the sidelines and just in the stands. He'll get Darius is quite a strong person. I don't think it'll phase him no matter what. He's a philosopher. He likes all the philosophers chat and stuff like that. If you look at his socials,
his Instagram's quite interesting. I find that too.
Yeah, I don't really get on with it too much, but yeah, he some of the stuff he says, it's just I just leave it. But yeah, I don't think he was. I think we signed him to do more with his philosophy side. Again, it agrees with our manager. They were on the same page regarding that. He's a strong figure to have around for the youngsters, and I think it's more to do with the coaching side. I think he'll be doing his coaching badges while he's with Wimbledon. And he's a good personality to have around the club as well. But he won't be. I don't think he'll be starting on Saturday.
Because if I remember correctly, when he was at Wickham, obviously he went and played 20-odd games when they got promoted, and that's when the famous Our House rubbish came out. But I think he's got I want to say it's a problem with his back, which affects his hamstrings or something like that. I think he's quite prone to picking up injuries. So it kind of didn't surprise me that much that he wasn't playing, but I secretly was hoping he was, because last time he came to Wickham, he had an absolute stinker and it was brilliant. But sadly, it looks like I'm going to be let down.
Yeah, we signed him when we signed him from Stevenage first time round. He came to us with bad knees, and he played a hell of a lot of games for us, to be fair, after that. And then I was quite surprised we let him go again. I think it was with his back issue, and I was quite surprised to see how many games he did play at Wickham, to be fair. And yeah, some players, they never help themselves, do they really? They let their mouth do the talking where their feet can't really cash the checks kind of thing, can they? They just, I don't know, footballers, and they're not the brightest, are they, to be fair, most of them, and they say stuff that they shouldn't really.
All part of the fun, I guess, in a sense, isn't it? It's nice to be able to say, can we shout at him from the touchline? Will he shout back at us? It's nice to have it rather than going, can we shout at him through his stream? So there's the positive to all that, mate.
On Saturday, he'll be on the bench, I'm guessing, so you'll be able to, the people just behind him will be able to give him enough stick, and I'm sure Darius will love it. And if we win, I'm sure he'll be giving it back as well.
And so we should. That's what football's about.
That's true.
Talking about your defence, obviously Ben Hennigan was a player that was linked to us recently, and I looked to see if he was playing and actually came across something that totally took me away from Ben Hennigan completely. You switched from a back three to a back four to a back three, if Google's correct and live scores is correct. How likely are you to line up in a back three or back four? What do you think will be best going into the game against Sunderland?
Your guess with regards to our formations is as good as mine. This is another thing why Robbo is so loved at the moment as well, is that he has this thing where he will change for, like 4 against Bolton, 3 against Gillingham. He could match up with yourself. He could go 3. He could go 5 at the back. He'll change it during the game as well. So we'll start 3-5-2 and we'll mix it to 4-5-1. It just changes week on week, and we got battered by Peterborough last year, 4-0 at their place. Smoddox he run the show, and they absolutely destroyed us in the second half. And the reason why is they changed their formation 3 times in the second half, and we just couldn't live with them. And that's the kind of manager Rob Owens, he took this all on board and was like, I need to do that with my team, because if we can become what Peterborough become last year, it would be fantastic. We haven't got their money, but we have got the heart and desire. And I think we'll go with a 4. I think we might go 4-5-1 against yourselves. I'm not sure we'll see Dapo. I think we'll see Presley. It's so hard at the moment because everyone's playing well for us. It's so hard to pick a team, because Saturday I thought everyone done fantastic. The manager disagreed and he changed it 7 times against Gillingham, and everyone against Gillingham we were superb against Gillingham, and just one silly mistake cost us the points, which again is football. But I think we'll go 4 at the back, and yeah, I think we'll possibly go 5 in midfield and try and get you on a counter attack in quick football.
It's called low block by the new school, isn't it? You might sit back and try and hit us in the break, I think is what we would call it. Obviously, probably my favourite bit of the show, which just shows you the ego I have about Sunderland, is which players from our side would potentially worry Wimbledon fans going into the game, but it's actually quite a good marker to get an understanding of who's standing out and sometimes get some surprising answers to this. But which players do you particularly worry about from Sunderland, and where do you think we could potentially be here?
So a big one for me would be Ross Stewart up front for you boys.
Yeah.
I think, he could be a danger man. Luke O'Nien, I think he's brilliant. And there was rumours, I don't know if these are real, off the, you see on Twitter loads of times you see this player's phone, and there was rumours that we were looking at Luke O'Nien in the summer, which never was going to happen, to be fair, because we couldn't afford him. And also there's Aidan McGeady, who I don't know what you think about him. I think he could be, 1 minute he's brilliant from what I've seen, and then the next 3 games he's pretty bad. So it depends on what Aidan McGeady turns up. I don't obviously watch Sunderland week in, week out, but as I said, he could be brilliant. And then
I'm a big McGeady fan. You were speaking to probably one of the biggest, so I'm very biased when it comes to Aidan McGeady.
Yeah, and as I said, I've only seen again, as you said earlier, on Quest.
He was actually poor on Tuesday, to be fair. We played well. He wasn't at his full tilt. So there's definitely going to be agreement with that 100%.
But how he's still playing in the League One is beyond me, to be fair. He's a championship player. But as I said, Ross Stewart's the big one for me, I think. But if you go one up front and we play 4 at the back, I think we can contain you. I really do. But yeah, they're the 3 players that I'd pick. Luke O'Nien for me is one of the best players in the division. I don't know how you weren't playing him last year, but you never played Dobson last year, which is, again, mad to us Wimbledon fans.
Oh, that's a really interesting one, George Dobson, because obviously he went down to... I was secretly a George Dobson fanboy, but it was all a bit tongue-in-cheek. He wasn't very good, for us, to be kind. But he went to Wimbledon. He did really well, didn't he, George Dobson? We were desperate to sign him.
He was unreal for it, and we couldn't believe that you let him go, because he was... I don't know if you were playing him in a wrong position. That's what I believe what happened, that you were playing him more as a attacking midfielder. And he was, for us, he was just superb last season for us. We would have done anything to sign him. But I'm quite happy we got George Marsh now. He's younger and it looks like he'll step in. So
Dobbo's an interesting one. I think you would probably find 1 in 5 Sunderland fans that would say things as drastic as the worst player we've ever had, which is really weird. I personally don't think it was the worst, but he's potentially up there. But when he went to Wimbledon, I did see, totally skipped my mind, like how much he's actually loved him. And obviously I spoke to Ivor about him. People know about it, and he was saying he was great. He's like, he's fit in so well. Why have we let him go? So
he was unreal for us last year. He was probably one of our, if he had signed at start season, he would have won our Player of the Year award. He was that good when he came down to us. And that's what I mean. We were like, someone let him go. They must have some very, very good talent, and to let this kid go. And it was like, he was brilliant for us. And now he's, the thing that annoys us is any player that we have that's really good that we don't own, that comes to us on loan. Charlton end up signing. So they've had Purinton off us. They had Lyle Taylor off us. They had Dobson off us. Well, not off us, but we'd love to sign him. But yeah.
Always an interesting one. I thought I'd better delve into that, because now you mentioned his name, I was like, oh God, yeah, I remember that. But final question as always, because you've joined me late and I know you've been doing a podcast before this, score prediction.
Oh, I fancy us to go and win 1-0. I fancy us to nick it 1-0. But a draw could still be on, I think. I really fancy us to win.
Oh, you're too confident with that. It's kind of worried me a bit. I was feeling quite confident going into Saturday. Now your confidence has made me go a bit shaky. But to be fair, my predictions are never right. I got 3 out of 40 odd last season correct. So like mine's pointless anyway. So I'll go the opposite way. You can't bet against your own team. I'll say 1-0. I was going to say Will Great goal, but I couldn't keep my laughing. So I'll say Ross Stewart, mate. But Lee, really good chatting.
Thank you.
Always enjoy chatting with a Wimbledon fan, whether that's cheesy and obvious, I don't know, but it's such a story that it's hard to not get involved with it as a football fan. But it's been really nice to get like another perspective on it from another Wimbledon fan. I just hope you enjoyed yourself. But before I let you go, Lee, there will be people that want to know where they can listen to your stuff, how they can follow obviously your podcast. Where's the best places to get you?
Twitter's the best place at the moment, so it's Wombles Dream. And you can find us across all the usual places at the Wombles Had a Dream podcast. yeah, Twitter's the main one, and that's where we do our usual stuff. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me on. And good luck for the rest of the season, apart from obviously the 2 games that we play.
Right back at you.
Yeah, but it's the usual, isn't it? Yeah, it has to be said.
The pleasantries, isn't it?
Yeah.